Hey everyone, it's Jennifer from Caffeinated Paper Cuts, and I'm here today with a really quick and easy but fun birthday card using the color box, chalk inks, and a number stencil. And I've already got my card taped down. I'm going to be doing this on craft paper, and I've already got it sliced down to a standard A2. And the idea is I'm going to use all of the numbers 1 through 9. So you see I'm just lining up where it's going to go, grabbing my Post-it tape so the stencil doesn't move on me too much while I'm trying to ink through it. And it's going to be a two-step process. So I've got my dauber and I have my white ink, and I'm first going to go through and ink up my dauber and apply white ink to all of the numbers. And here it gets a little bouncy because apparently I can't gently tap on ink. I have to really get in there and just layer it on. So you see I'm just going through, applying the ink, seeing how it looks, and then moving on to the next one. And after I do a couple, let me show you how it's coming out. Take a look. It's a really nice crisp white on that craft paper. So I'm just going to line the stencil back up and have at it. So I finished off the first row, and then I wound up with a problem. See how the 6, if I leave it that way, kind of hangs off? I'm gonna fix that. So I lined up the second row. I started with my 4 and my 5. And I was just going to town again. And then when I finished, I lined my 6 up and I just gently, carefully moved it over so that it was back on the card and kept going. That's about where my camera ran out of battery. That was fun. So I went, I had dinner, my white pigment ink is all dried, and now I'm lining my stencil back up, but here's what we're going to do. I'm going to move it down and to the side a little bit. See how we want some of that craft sneaking through? This is where we're going to bring in the chalk inks. So I'm taping it down again because now I really don't want it to move. And just making sure, because of course I hit it when I went to tape it down. Getting it all set up so it's not hitting the numbers underneath it. You see I've got the back of my card taped off the entire time so I don't get ink on that by accident. And I'm just taping the stencil back down so that when I start applying the ink, it doesn't move around on me and I wind up with ink everywhere, like I've done in the past. It's happened. Come on, we've all done it. All right, so I've got my chalk inks, and I love that they come in a set like this because it simply means that all of the colors go together. So I'm just starting at the top and having some ridiculous trouble for whatever reason getting the lids off. I think I was thinking too much about it. Yeah, I don't know either. So I'm starting with Pink Sky, and I'm just putting it right through the stencil onto my number 1, carefully avoiding the number 5 down there. And I'm just tapping away ever so lightly, and you can see that the color that comes out is just so beautiful and dark and full of pigment, and it's just stunning when it dries, especially on top of that white. So now I'm tucking that away because I'm always careful. I don't want my inks to dry out. And I'm just grabbing a napkin here. I got a little too close to comfort to that number 2. So before I started stamping that, I just wanted to clean it up a little bit. So then I'm grabbing my stack there and just taking the next one down, which I think is Red Barn. Yep. And then getting it all lined up. I'm actually decided to skip over to the number 3 because I didn't want the 2 reds next to each other. So you'll see I'm going to go back after I get the 3 going with the yellow that's actually in the set instead. And do the number 2 in that. And it's really quick and easy. I'm just going along, stamping away, switching up my inks. Alright, yeah, my stencil moved a little bit, but everything was okay. So then I'm just going to go through, ink up that number 2 in the yellow, And I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what was going on with the autofocus. Might be finally time to upgrade my camera. What do you think? Anyway, so then I pulled it off, and you can see where I've got the color overlapping the white and the bit of color on the craft is just a really pretty and fun effect. So I'm just going to go through, do all the rest, and pick back up with number 9, where I'm using that pretty yellow again. Doing the last couple of taps, making sure I don't accidentally go on anything I've already done. And one finished card front in a beautiful rainbow of colors that really is going to make anybody happy. So now I'm just going to carefully remove my tape so I don't get the ink all over the place. Move that to one side to dry for a bit, and now I'm going to work on the sentiment. So I've got a piece of black cardstock that I have stamped with watermark ink, just a simple little happy birthday. And I've got my white embossing powder that, of course, I dropped the spoon into. That was always fun. And I'm just going to heat emboss it with the goal being a banner across the front. I went with the black just to contrast all of those beautiful colors I've got on the front. So I'm just going to heat set it until it melts. There we go. All right, so I went and I trimmed down that piece of cardstock, just what was big enough for the sentiment. Didn't want it huge, just wanted a thin strip across the front. And now, see, I'm kind of lining it up, figuring out where I want it to go. Thinking right across the 4, 5, and 6, but I do want it to have banner ends. So I just grab my scissors, do a quick couple snips, one right up the middle, and then at an angle is pretty much the easiest way I've found to get it to where it at least looks even. I'm not the straightest cutter, but this actually helps me out. So just a couple of snips, and I have a banner all ready to go. So now I'm just grabbing my phone tape because I wanted to give it a little bit of dimension, and I'm just going to cut off some thin strips, put them on the back, one more piece, and this card is almost done. Really quick and easy overall. The longest part for me was waiting for everything to dry, but that's probably because I kind of err on the side of caution. I like making sure everything is completely dry before I touch it, especially with the pigment inks and the chalk inks combined. So I'm just lining up the banner, making sure it's straight, and there we go. This would be really fun to personalize. Like, say if you knew it was somebody's 25th birthday or something like that, then you could choose to simply add color to those 2 numbers and call out their birth date. Their age. There we go. All right, so thank you so much for joining me. I will have the list of supplies on the ClearSnap blog. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.